Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Your Stocks. I'm Pavitra Parekh. With me is Ekta Batra, and today we're seeing a good run in the markets. We're currently 80 points in the green and it's holding up well at that 18,680 kind of mark. But the real story today is the outperformance that you're seeing in the broader markets, because the mid-cap index, small-cap index, both at the day's high. The small-cap index, which is seeing a 1.3% kind of move, and the mid-cap index also holding up with gains of over 0.9%. The advanced decline looking very solid at over 2:1. So it's, all in all shaping out to be quite a good session, and we are holding at that 18,680 mark. So that's what's going on in terms of the move. I think in sectoral indices, it's perhaps a lot about the consumption names. Banks a little bit soft, but a good session.
Hi, Pavitra. Absolutely. What a great session for the broader markets. And it's not only today. Just look at the run the mid-caps as well as the small-caps have had on a year-to-date basis. Both these indices are up around 9% as compared to the Nifty, which has given returns of around 3%. So definitely a marked outperformance for the broader markets as compared to the Nifty. But yes, a lot of stocks buzzing around. Even the likes of Britannia, Nestle from the FMCG space, autos are seeing buying. So it is definitely this consumption theme which is really taking the markets forward today. But we do have 30 minutes of a lot of queries lined up. We have today with us Rajat Bose on the technicals and Parthiv Shah, who's joining in to discuss the fundamentals with us. Rajat as well as Parthiv, welcome to the show. Well, let's get to the first question. We have Nagesh, who writes to us from Bangalore. He holds 62 shares of L&T at 1,754, 28 shares of Polycab, which he's bought at around 2,475 rupees. He's a long-term investor. He wants to know what to do, whether to book his profits or stay invested. Well, Rajat, I'm going to start by asking you on this one. What would you recommend on both of these? One is a Nifty investment. One is a broader market investment. Would you stay invested or would you book some profits?
Well, capex cycle is about to begin. That's what I'm getting to hear on your channel and also from other places, even in newspapers. If that is the case, then L&T should be held, because this is a company that would benefit greatly. But Parthiv will elaborate on this. Suffice it to say that L&T for the last 1 year, after around say August, it crossed its 200-day exponential moving average. After that, it continued to maintain itself above that. Weekly chart is also quite good. Monthly chart is definitely good, and even the daily chart, after a correction, it is now moving up. I would suggest a hold, and the person should, if he says I'm a long-term investor, my advice to long-term investors is that if you have bought a blue chip stock at a good price, and if you are in profits, why think of getting out, booking profits? Keep holding on. These things actually make a lot of money, these kind of stocks. So continue to hold on. If I were you, I would have held on.
Okay, and what about Polycab as well? Because this is a stock which has already seen a good move this year, right? I'm looking at the year-to-date chart. It's up around 37%. Do you think there's lots more to go here as well?
Polycab chart is even better than L&T. And you look at it this way, this stock is moving in a band. That is upper standard deviation band, that is Bollinger Band, upper standard deviation, and 9-day moving average. Whenever a stock moves within this band, this 9-day moving average supporting it and the upper Bollinger Band resisting it, this means that this is in a strong uptrend, and the uptrend continues even though today it has come down. But this kind of tasting the 9-day moving average, that is always possible. But Polycab looks pretty good. I would suggest this person should continue to hold this. If I were in his shoes and as a long-term investor, I would put a stop loss at 2,900 on weekly closing price basis and continue with it, because this is a company that has great moat. I mean, Parthiv might elaborate on that. I would not like to encroach on his territory, but this is a great stock, great performance, and fantastic short-term trend. Medium-term trend is also up, long-term trend is up. So stay invested. That's it.
Okay, all right, Parthiv, do you agree? Because Rajat fleetingly mentioned moat when it comes to polycab and the capex cycle picking up when it comes to L&T. Are these two triggers important enough to stay invested in these two counters, and what would your advice be?
Good afternoon, Ekta, Pavitra and Rajat. Absolutely agree with Rajat, and he is wearing both the hats and he does that job fantastically well. Hats off to his data points. So absolutely agree. I think both are fantastic proxies to the great capital goods cycle that we are witnessing. And it is not only the government capex which is driving. Yes, we all know about the 10 lakh crore figure that the government has budgeted in terms of infra-related capex, which includes everything: railways, ports, bridges, roads. So a plethora of capex happening in the capital goods space. And what better way to play than playing a company which L&T in terms of its order book size is sitting on almost 4 lakh crore worth of order book, which is executing extremely well. No doubt recently we saw some correction thanks to the fact that they talked about slightly tepid guidance in terms of the infra project EBIT margins, but I think that is part and parcel of the infra related business. We are very hopeful that
Okay, there seems to be a little bit of an issue with that connection, so our team is working to fix that. But in the meantime, let's also get in our next query. We have Hardeep Singh Chadda, who calls us from Chandigarh. He's on the line with us and has investments in Craftsman Automation and Varun Beverages. Mr. Chadda, if you can hear me, please do go ahead with your query.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm holding Craftsman Auto at around 2250 and Varun Beverage in around 600 rupees. So I just wanted to know what should be, how long should I have? I mean, I want to hold them for a long time, but when should I think about exiting them? I mean, if they fall back to a certain level, when should I think about exiting them?
Okay, so clearly you've made good money on both of these investments, and congratulations for holding on for a while. But let's bring Rajat in first on this. Rajat, like we were talking to the caller as well, he has made good money on both of these investments, willing to hold for a long time. Do you think it's a good idea to stay put on both of these, Craftsman Automation and Varun Beverages?
Well, Craftsman, since it was listed, I think April, at least in NSE, it started from April 20, it is March or April 2021. And from there, it has never looked back. Only 1 or 2, 3, say, in between there had been a 2-3 months of correction, and after that it continues to move up. In fact, looking at the chart, I mean, I'm thankful to you people that I got this query. I intend to investigate this stock fundamentally because it's a phenomenal chart performance. I mean, this is a great wealth creator. I would suggest that the person should not actually consider getting out of it. On the contrary, at lower levels, unless it breaks 3250, there is no question of getting out of this company, and he should continue to hold it. And if there is a dip, this kind of a stock should be bought again. I mean, this is too good actually. Performance is very good on this.
Up 25% in 1 month.
Absolutely, and around 70% in the past 1 year. But Parthiv, what would your thoughts be on both these counters? Okay, we don't have Parthiv, but Rajat, just a quick broader, question on the broader markets. We've discussed a couple of stocks from the broader markets, which you seem to be quite bullish on. Polycab, and now we've discussed Craftsman as well. What is your take in terms of the outperformance that we're seeing in the mid caps and the small caps on a year-to-date basis? Do you think that this trend is probably going to continue, accelerate as the year goes by? Is that a strategy that you would advocate, and how would one play it if that is something that you do propagate?
Well, if you talk about the broader market, and if you look at the mid cap index, CNX mid cap 100 I'm talking about, which is now ruling at 34,368, almost 1% up. I mean, I study Nifty, Bank Nifty, and CNX mid cap. These three indices I study on a regular basis. while I give my inputs to my YouTube channel every week. I found that this particular index, that is CNX Midcap 100, this actually shows the best of strength and best of trendiness. I mean, Bank Nifty was a bit seesawing, Nifty in between, say, early part of the uptrend, Nifty was not performing so well, Bank Nifty was performing. But if you look at the mid-cap index, it is the band that I discussed, that the upper Bollinger Band and the 9-day moving average, mid-cap index continues to be in that. Only once or twice in the last 3 months it fell below the 9-day exponential moving average is going on. And when I check several stocks, I see lots of bullishness. I mean, the kind of strength, technical strength that I can fathom from chart analysis. And mind you, I did a multiple time frame analysis, 75 minutes, 125 minutes, 1 day. Why 75 and 125 minutes? Because you can divide a particular day into 5 and 3 sessions. And there also it shows a lot of strength. So that's why you can find so much of activity in the broader market. And the broader market is outperforming as exhibited by the CNX Midcap 100. So technically speaking, they are actually having some of the best of times.
Oh, absolutely. We've been seeing that across the markets for a while now. Rajat, the other query from, Mr. Chadha was on Varun Beverages, where also he's bought at quite an attractive price. He's bought it at 615 on Varun Beverages. What would you suggest here? Because take a look at the 1-year chart, and the stock is pretty much at its life highs right now. But for the year, it's a 120% gain.
Yeah. It's a good gain, but if he is a long-term investor, then I would suggest to keep a stop loss at 1200. Basically, I am actually dissuading him from getting out. And if it is only a short-term or medium-term stuff, then 1500 should be your stop loss. But at the moment, the last couple of sessions, including today's, this is actually regressing to the mean, that is the 20-day moving average it is testing. It has done that quite a few times over the last few months and then again bounce back. And Varun Beverages is a fundamentally very sound company. So from that perspective, one can continue to hold on. See, I can tell you one simple thing, that when you get into a good company at a good price, if you book your profits early, then you actually end up being a loser. So I would suggest that unless the major support is broken down, then one should not be exiting. And I couldn't believe that there would be this intermediate uptrend that has begun from late March, on 31st of March. After that, it has started moving up quite strongly, and that is still continuing. So long as the trend continues, let it be so. Let it be so. Maybe a 2017 is getting repeated. Who knows?
Okay, all right. Well, the flurry in mid-caps continues. But let's get to another query now. Gopal Krishnan M writes to us from Kerala, holds 40 shares of Tata Investment Corporation, which he's bought at 1987. Long-term investor wants to know the future prospects of his investment. Parthiv, would you have a view on that? It's close to its 52-week high. He's sitting on a profit at this point in time. Is there more upside?
See, Ekta, we know this is a fantastic holding company from the stable of Tata Group, and it holds one of the best companies of Tata Group. And despite this run-up, you've seen a massive run-up in this stock price. The holdco discount has reduced. And historically, we have seen Tata Investment Limited have a holdco discount of anywhere between 50 to 70%. And it tends to bottom out whenever the holdco discount is at around 70% and tends to peak when the holdco discount goes below 50%. And currently, if you see, the holdco discount is pretty attractive. And here is where I feel that despite being a very good company, having a holding company pedigree from Tata Group, I think no one booking profits here because generally these companies don't have any other operational set of business, and it all depends on the mercy of how the other group companies perform. So it is better to individually cherry pick some of the well-run Tata Group companies and build a basket of that portfolio, because I think they are doing extremely well. They are allocating a lot of capital, and that is where better wealth will be created as compared to staying put in this company.
Okay, that is on Tata Investment. Rajat, you have a view on this as well. I mean, what do you think of this stock, and do you think it can be held? Because the buy price is also pretty attractive.
Well, one can continue to hold this stock, and maybe that if one is a long-term investor, the 200-day moving average, that particular moving average is around 2047. So below that, you put your stop loss. But I would like to concur with what Parthiv had to say about this holding company. Instead of buying a holding company and continue to carry it in your portfolio, why don't you buy some Tata Group company? My choice is either Tata Motors or Tata LXI. In fact, I expect Tata LXI to do very well, and Tata Motors is going great guns. Those stocks, if held for this kind of a longer period, then I think they would give much better returns than Tata Investments. Tata Investments may be very good for the promoters, but for us, individual stocks would be better.
Okay, well, there is always that holding company discount as well. Rajat as well as Parthiv, just hold on. We need to take a quick break, but we'll answer more queries on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Your Stocks on CNBC-TV18. We still have with us Rajat Bose on the technicals, Parthiv Shah to answer all of your fundamental stock queries that you have. Well, it's quite a lively market because the Nifty's also picked up some amount of pace, up around 100 odd points for the Nifty as we speak, and the sensex up a cool 250 odd points. But it's really the broader markets in terms of context or relative gains that we're seeing. There is an outperformance there. There is the advanced decline ratio, which is holding quite steady and has been holding steady through the entire trading session. Well, let's get another query in. We have Dilesh Joshi, who writes to us from Mumbai. He holds 100 shares of NOSIL and 100 shares, and that's at 180 rupees. So he's making a profit there. He's a long-term investor, wants to know whether or not, what he should do with it, hold or sell that particular counter and investments. Parthiv, what would you recommend on this? You know, it seems as though there's so much interest in the broader markets, mid caps, small caps, that those are the kind of queries that we're getting. For NOSIL, what would you recommend?
Yes, Ekta, certainly a hold in NOSIL. See, if you see over a period of time, this company, which is having great products in the rubber segment, they have done fantastic in terms of getting key approvals from the European and US customers. And these approvals are not easy. So now NOSIL has a global level capacity and global level products where it competes with. No doubt, I think of late, thanks to the fact that a lot of things have opened up in China, and the domestic demand in China had been weak. So a lot of inventory is getting dumped worldwide, as a result of which a lot of rubber chemicals also are facing some pricing pressure, and that is why probably NOSIL is available at a reasonable valuation. Our sense is that NOSIL is gaining market share not only domestically but globally also. Domestically, they have almost 40% market share. They have great new set of products in the pipeline which will be more margin accretive and which will provide a lot of stability to their margins that they earn. So they have unutilized capacity which will go up. So our sense is that over the next 2 to 3 years, NOSIL, which is quoted at around 17 times forward, can easily look at something around 20-22 times. So there is upside to be made. So certainly hold on to NOSIL.
Okay, hold on to NOSIL. Rajat, what is your call on this one? Because the stock has been, on a little bit of a downtrend for a while now, for almost a year. And this is a stock that has seen levels of around 310. Do you see that kind of price coming back?
Well, 310 difficult immediately, but one thing I would say that unless it falls below 195, I would suggest the person to hold this stock, because it appears that the current downtrend is coming to an end. That's why a breakdown below 195 would mean that this recovery attempt is totally nullified. If that doesn't happen, then what Parthiv had said, that fundamental better development actually would pan out even in prices. For that, it would need to cross 240 mark, where the 220-month moving average is located. If that is taken out, then definitely you will see some more upward price action. But for now, it is a hold with a stop below 195 on monthly closing price basis.
Okay. All right. Well, we have Sumit Chandra, who writes to us from Kolkata. He holds 100 stocks of Bliss GVS Pharma at 73 rupees and 100 shares of Morpen, which is at around 26. So he's just about flat on both of these investments. Medium-term investor wants to know what to do and whether these stocks are even the right choice. Rajat, leave us with your thoughts on this.
Well, Bliss GVS Pharma, I don't find anything great in this, but since he has purchased, continuing to hold it, I would say that if it were to fall below 68, then it would become bad again. So long as that doesn't happen, he can continue to hold it. But one thing I would like to make very clear, that is, unless it crosses 77.50 and stays above that level, then there would not be any kind of an uptrend. And there could have been much better choices elsewhere. This kind, Ekta would be knowing pharma sector quite well, and there are lots of good companies performing really brilliantly. And some of the big companies are doing well. Why choose Bliss GVS Pharma? And Morpen Lab, I'm sick and tired of answering Morpen Lab questions. Yeah, I mean, although at the moment it looks like that there is a possibility of tasting the 200-day exponential moving average at 30, but if Morpen Lab doesn't cross that 30 mark, then one should exit, because if this kind of a movement that is happening in the market, if a stock is unable to rise from the bottom, then there may not be any other opportunity. And why stay put in such companies that actually doesn't perform for years? Only one, although I did sound quite bullish today, but I would like to offer a caution to your viewers. It's a kind of a suo motu intervention on my part, if I use a legal metaphor. That is, people are very bullish on defense stocks, and I have seen at least a couple of mutual funds coming up with a defense defense fund and all that. Whenever mutual funds come up with a sector fund, that particular sector actually tops out in the market. This has been the case over the last 30 years. So be very wary of buying a fresh defense stocks. It would be better that at least you book some part profits in them, because they may look very good, but they are going to have problems very soon.
Okay, Raja, thanks a lot for that. There's only one fund offering, a defense sector specialized fund, so no room for guessing over there. But thanks a lot for taking us through your call on all of these individual queries also that have come in. Parthiv, thanks a lot for joining us. We're going to wind down on the show with a full 100-point gain on the Nifty, 18,700. We did briefly, break above that level as well. And the move that we're seeing in the past couple of minutes is also on account of Reliance, because that has moved up suddenly. So there's a good move over there. The mid-cap index solid as ever with a 325-point gain. Thanks for tuning in. We have closing bell up next.